All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Zanzi, and I am the host of the Showcase AMA series here on the Polygon Discord. Today, we got two special guests with us coming in from Xion Global. We have Aaron and we have Ronan. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah,
Yeah,
great. Thanks yourself, man.
Cool, man. Yeah, really excited to have both of you guys here. Looking forward to get to know more about you guys and your project. So I always like to kick this off doing a bit of a introduction. So why don't you tell us a bit about what your backstory is and what drew you into the Web3 space? Maybe Aaron, you want to go first?
yeah, sure thing. Yeah, obviously great to be here. Really appreciate it. So yeah, I guess to just kind of kick things off, Ronan and I, we basically come from a very heavy e-commerce and payments gateway background. We started quite a lot of different companies back in the day, a lot of e-commerce companies, where we used a lot of different payment processors like Stripe and PayPal and the likes like that. And we created a lot of different businesses. I mean, we created a lot of different subscription box businesses. We actually created a fishing subscription box. Had no idea of what fishing was, but we rocked it, and we were getting nearly 1,000 subscribers per day, using Stripe for payments, and eventually we hit a whole lot of different barriers that kind of just prevented us from moving forward. So having the experience from e-commerce, having the experience from working with the different payment gateways, and dabbling a bit back in the day, trading ETH and that sort of thing, kind of led us to, looking for a solution, a payments gateway solution that really anyone could use in the world to start accepting payments. And with us being, based out of South Africa, we were working out of our garage, building all these different businesses, and it's pretty tough. When it comes to third world countries to accept payments, especially subscription payments, pretty tough. So that was one of the biggest things for us. We had a whole lot of different barriers with these different e-commerce and subscription businesses that we were scaling very, very fast. But just the payments infrastructure, not even just from crypto, but in general, the accessibility was very limited. So that's kind of like, what led us into Down
I
and what.
think, yeah, Aaron, I think the other thing you forgot, that you left out was the fact that PayPal ended up freezing, the funds. I think that was when we absolutely had it. We were
Yeah.
obviously working with quite a few businesses in the States, um, in terms of t-shirts. I ended up, myself and Aaron ended up getting into t-shirts. We were probably one of the very first in South Africa that started selling t-shirts online. Um, at that stage, even my parents turned around and said, no one will ever buy a t-shirt online. This was when Facebook ads still, just came out. Um, and we kind of got onto that. And a couple of years after, we received a payment from one of our suppliers in the States, and PayPal flagged it, and they basically closed my account down, and they sent me an email saying, you can have your money in 180 days. And I was like, this is crazy. I was in tears on the call. It was all the money I'd ever worked for, and built these businesses, and that was really frustrating. I think that was one of the biggest reasons why, that the whole Web3 space was so interesting for us. It's the decentralized side. Um, it's having the rights to your own funds, and that was one of the biggest things I think in terms. When that happened, um, we really just we ended up closing everything down, and we dived straight into that, and that's kind of how our journey began.
Fantastic. That makes a lot of sense to me. Um, the thing with crypto is it's like internet native and like global by default, whereas with a lot of other financial infrastructure, it's like really segregated based on like the region of the world that you live in. Like Robinhood is an internet business, for example, but as a Canadian citizen or a European citizen, I can't use Robinhood, which is like the weirdest thing to me. But yeah, crypto, on the other hand, it's like permissionless, decentralized. Everyone um, can use it as long as they have an internet connection. So yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to like get a bit more into Xion Global. Like, what's your roles within the project? When did Xion first start, and like how big of a team do you guys have? What's your development journey look like?
Awesome. So Aaron, yeah, I'll take this. So myself and Aaron are obviously the two main founders of Zan. There's another founder, Brent Panther. He's obviously not on the call with us, but myself, CEO of Xion Global, Aaron's the CEO. Our team, consists of roughly about 16 people. And we ended up really starting the journey, I would say at the end of 2017. That was when we first started like conceptualizing everything, and started putting ideas together. It took a while, and there was a lot of things that were changing during those timeframes. I ended up getting into Bitcoin around about 2013. My mom was the one that actually got me into Bitcoin. She was all about Bitcoin back in 2012, and we didn't want to believe her, and she was like, it's the next big thing. And we didn't believe her, and I wish we bought more back then, but it is what it is. And yeah, so we on obviously end of 2017 is when we kind of started conceptualizing everything. 2018 is when we started putting the white papers together and started understanding the technology more, and things like that. And then I would say, roundabout end of 2018 is when we started building our first, MVP solution. It was an entirely different solution. I wouldn't say it was entirely different, but it was, the concept was really, really big. And we just didn't have the backing to build all the infrastructure that we wanted to build, and obviously do the whole thing we wanted to do in the white paper. So that kind of led us, about a year that we ended up building, the first concept. And we ended up turning around and we were like, this is way too big. We just don't have the support and the capacity to build something like this. We need to start scaling down. And at the end of, I would say it was around about 2019, end of 2019 is where we really stuck our focus specifically on payments infrastructure. Subscriptions is obviously a big thing for us. Nothing at that point in time, there was nothing available in terms of crypto subscriptions. And that was something we wanted to accomplish. Our biggest thing was always, making the system as decentralized as possible. And obviously with things, current things in the world, it is quite difficult, obviously with regulation and things like that coming out. It makes it very difficult to, keep everything decentralized. But the other side of it as well is that you kind of do need a centralized part to the system, because otherwise you just can't compete with existing infrastructure. And that was our other big thing, was that, we want to go super decentralized, but at the end of the day, we've got to have, part of it that is centralized, so that, we can build and we can obviously process certain payments and subscriptions and things like that. And I think that's what makes obviously Xion Global really unique, from that standpoint. But yeah, so Xion Global, we ended up getting incubated by Swiss VC at the end of 2019, I think early 2020. We were incubated by a Swiss VC, and that was a 3-4 month incubation period. We still pitched at the World Economic Forum and all those types of things, made quite a few connections, and obviously that gave us more funding to build out Xion Global. And then I would say the end of 2020 is when we essentially had our first MVP solution. And we actually ended up partnering with Sendwire, and we launched our first model, and it did really, really well. And what ended up happening was that Sendwire basically came to us, and I think that was at a point where they ended up getting acquired. And they came to us and said to us, listen, what you guys is doing is not ethical. Like, you can't do this. You can't allow people to come into a checkout and pay with fiat, but then it gets transacted into crypto. And we were like, but that's the whole thing. Like, you want to make it so seamless that people don't need to understand the infrastructure behind what's happening. They don't need to understand what's happening with their payment, as long as the merchant's getting paid out and the fees are lower and it's a seamless checkout. And we obviously ended up building all this infrastructure with Sendwire. And yeah, they basically ended up telling us that they didn't want to do it anymore with us, and they basically pulled the plug with us. And that was around about, I think, early 2021, around about there. And that meant we had to go back to the drawing board, and we had to basically start, not start from scratch, but we had to, decide which route we were going to go through, and kind of keep the fiat out of the solution. And, I do wish that Senwai would have come to the party more with us at that stage, because what we had built at the end of 2020 was very unique. And, still to this day, there's nothing like that available. And, it just makes sense, because we come from a traditional background, especially in e-commerce and dealing with a lot of payment side. And that's, it was very seamless. The person comes in, puts their email address in, puts their shipping address in. If it's a physical product, if it's a digital, just email, then goes to the checkout, puts in their card details, checks out. And then, our whole infrastructure on that side was, they pay with the fiat, and then we basically initiate stablecoin payout to the merchant immediately, which was instant settlements. And that obviously didn't work with Senwai. But with our new stuff now, we ended up releasing our latest version out for Xion Global at the end of 2021. And that's been going really well for us. Xion Global right now offers the ability for Web3 checkout buttons and payment links at the moment. We're currently working on the API solutions. The system is quite big, and obviously, we're super happy to be doing stuff with Polygon now. I think that in terms of exit liquidity and support and all those types of things, it's really amazing. We're obviously looking at bringing a lot of traction to Polygon through our latest partnerships and things like that. So it's been an awesome road. We also, launched Xion Finance at the beginning of last year. That took us roughly 2-3 months to build. That's a DeFi application for farming, staking, as well as a launchpad. We're currently busy building a full DEX aggregator for it. So transitioning Xion Finance to DEX aggregator, and then obviously keeping the launchpad side. But that's quite unique as well. As we obviously offer, the subscription memberships in IDOs and things like that. So it makes it a lot easier for people, to get involved. So, Xion Finance kind of helped us raise funding as well last year through an IDO and a public sale and things like that, which obviously, facilitated additional funding for Xion Global as well. So, yeah, I would say that's where we are right now and everything. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Aaron.
No, I think you kind of covered it. Like from the bigger side, I would say our core focus has always been crypto payments. Initially, like you said, we did the fiat to crypto. Now we're doing straight crypto, and we're expanding, especially with Polygon. Coming onto the Polygon chain, we basically in the process now of deploying all of our payments contracts onto Polygon, so we can do exit liquidity for stablecoin settlements in either USDC or USDT. But yeah, I think you covered everything. I think biggest thing is payments. That is our core. That's where most of our experience lies, and that's why we've got so many partnerships we do, and that's why we're on Polygon right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's quite the crazy development story, especially everything that happened with Senwire. It sounds like you're a very solution-oriented group, and you have a really like multiple facets of like solutions, split between like Xion Global and Xion Finance. It's like really incredible all the use cases you guys have. But I want to dive a bit deeper into Xion Global and like just all the ways people can tap into the potential of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Ronan, I can take this one. So with Xion Global, Ronan mentioned, at the moment we offer payment links. So basically, you can create a product, whether it's a digital, physical, or service product, and essentially once the product's created, you can generate a payment link that you can then share to anyone, via Messenger or email or wherever. And then if you're familiar with Stripe and their like hosted checkout, essentially we have the exact same, but obviously all Web3 based. So a user would go to the payment link, then they would get to the hosted checkout. And then the biggest thing for us was, coming from our background in e-commerce, we really need to make the checkout process as seamless as possible, not just for native crypto users, but traditional, users, traditional shoppers that aren't familiar with the crypto industry. So instead of just doing, say, MetaMask to connect your wallet to check out, you can use an email address, and that will automatically generate a Web3 wallet. And that's in partnership with Taurus that we've been partnered with for quite a while. So it really is streamlining the process for any, users that aren't familiar with crypto. They can come in, use their email address, log in, put in their details, and then they can pay with the crypto, of their choice. We offer at the moment, about 8 different cryptos. All the primary ones like, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, XRP, that sort of thing, and USDT. But the biggest thing now for Xion Global is we offer Web3 checkout buttons, we offer payment links. We also offer customer management and a whole lot of other areas and loyalty program and everything that I'll dive into a bit later. But the biggest thing at the moment that we're working on is expanding our payments. Firstly, the payment side, so actually allowing everyone to come in and pay with a token of their choice from a chain of their choice. So facilitating a lot more chains for people to pay with a lot more tokens, very liquid tokens that obviously go through a lot of due diligence. And then on the settlement side, it's really, with the different partners that we're working with now, and especially the recent contacts through Polygon that we've been introduced to, and in connection with Xion Finance, one of our close partners, we're now working on an expanded multi-chain payments and settlement solution. So basically a new payment settlement layer on Polygon, where you're going to have thousands of different cryptos that can be used to pay with for any product or service that any merchants of ours that are selling using our gateway, and then instantaneously settling that into a stablecoin on Polygon. Now the biggest thing is, like Ronan mentioned earlier, we are very, very, very focused on decentralizing the payments infrastructure as much as possible. Now, if you talk about management of funds, that is one of the key areas that now we're expanding on in terms of decentralizing it even more. So what I mean by that is users will soon be able to come into checkout. They'll pay with a token, say if they're paying from, let's just take Ethereum, for example, and they're paying with ETH or USDT. At that point of checkout, it's going to be immediately swapped one-to-one, zero slippage, to a stable coin on set chain. So that would be, say, Ethereum chain, and then immediately settled into the stable coin on Polygon. So that's the biggest thing right now, and that's what we're working on, and that's what our clients are actually waiting for. So we've got some really, really big clients, about 10,000 or so clients that we're going to be integrating in the next 90 to 120 days. So that's why we're pushing really big now on expanding the amount of chains that we can offer, expanding the amount of settlements, and then also if you're looking at custodial wallet solutions and that sort of thing, we're also integrating that with some other partners and on-chain transactional screening for more security and a whole lot of different other areas. But I think the biggest thing about Global is we want to make it as accessible as possible. We want to make it as seamless as possible for anyone to enter into the ecosystem, whether you're a merchant or whether you're a consumer, and then allowing the merchants to freely, accept these stablecoin settlements. Because yes, some merchants may want to accept ETH as payment, but when you look at markets like they are now, you want stablecoin settlement, you want you want less volatility. You want to really reduce that amount of risk because you may need to pay suppliers or whatever it may be. And checkout.com have a very big thing on stablecoin settlements. So yeah, at the moment we're expanding on that. APIs are a big thing right now. That's what we've been working on the past few months as well, prior to this new expansion. So yeah, I think APIs are coming up, and that's where all of our merchants are going to be integrating. So at the moment, with these clients that we're bringing on board, their last financial year, just in terms of crypto payments, was about 4 billion plus. And now we're just talking crypto payments. We're not even talking fiat payments. So, we are onboarding them. So we're looking at, doing an estimate about 4 billion transactional volume per year, and then expanding back to what our original, idea was fiat to crypto. And luckily enough, we found some really awesome partners that we've partnered with, and we're going to be integrating fiat as well. And then essentially the entire sort of volume that these clients have processed in both fiat and crypto is about $70 billion worth of payments. So yeah, super exciting for us. And we're pushing these APIs now out for them, and obviously working very, very hard with you guys from Polygon and the different connections to expand the infrastructure and basically bring everything to life via APIs that we built in terms of a manual setup for now, in terms of Web3 Checkout, customer management, all things. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
Aaron, Just touching on the customer management side,
Yeah.
obviously, that was one of our big things as well. As a crypto business owner, and accounting and things like that. Over the first year we were doing it, it was quite tricky. We had obviously an accounting company assisting us, but it was all manual.
Hmm.
Everything they were doing, they would have to go to BSC scan, Etherscan, and all these block explorers to pull the data and then reconcile all the transactions, which we found it was an absolute nightmare. And that's one of the other big things that we offer, that Xion Global currently offers, is the ability to manage your customers, the transactions, and all those pain points right now. And it makes it really seamless. So for any business owner right now looking to accept crypto payments, in terms of our customer management features, and managing the entire business, the funding side and the payment side, I would say we definitely one of the top when it comes to that. Even for ourselves, we use Xion Global to accept payments. And if we doing something with a partner and they need to send funds to us, we go into Xion Global, we go and create a payment link, and we send them over a payment link. There's no need to triple or quadruple check if the wallet address is right, because that's all automated in our checkout. So there's no need to worry that you're sending your funds to the wrong wallet. Um, and then also being able to manage it on our side, has been an absolute breeze. We just download the accountants just download the transactions every month, and it makes it super easy to reconcile everything.
Yeah, this is extremely exciting, and I think that like having a solution like this that makes everything so streamlined and much more efficient and easy for developers, sellers, and customers, right? They're like getting like easy crypto subscriptions and cashback rewards and everything. Like, it's really gonna help with Polygon's mission, which is to like bring mass adoption to the blockchain, bring the next 1 billion users into the DeFi sphere. So like I feel like having things like this, is going to really help drive the crypto appeal, right? That a lot of people don't yet have. And yeah, so it's really cool. Like I'm wondering if perhaps you guys want to jump into doing a screen share and like providing a bit of a visual representation of everything you've been talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
sure. I can do a screen share of Xion Global. Let me bring it up here. Get the right one, yeah. Right. Okay. All right. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can check it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is Xion.app. Our main website is Xion.global. So when you go, if you want to start accepting payments, you can go through either Xion.global or go directly to Xion.app. But essentially, this is the login page. So you can either connect your wallet if you're an existing crypto user, or you can enter an email address and we'll create a Web3 wallet for you, immediately and automatically. And that's through Taurus. So what I'll do is I'm just going to log in with my Google account. I'll take a few seconds to log in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be showing you just a very simple, demo of how to create a product, how to create a payment link for that product, and how to make the payment. And then I'll show you a little bit about the customer management. So essentially, this is our dashboard. As soon as you log in, you're given 3 different options: create a product, create a checkout button, or create a payment link. So we're going to go straight to create a product, and then you'll see a whole lot of different products that I've created before, and some demo products. So I'll just go here, and then we'll just name it Polygon Demo. We'll put it at a 5-cent price. You can select the product type, so digital, physical, service. Now, depending on what you select will depend on what details will be required in checkout. So for physical, obviously require shipping addresses. Digital and service, that kind of just differentiates between email address and phone number and that sort of thing. So we'll just go NFTs as a product category. Currency, that basically is what the currency will be displayed in checkout. And then wallet collection. So if it's like an NFT product, for instance, or NFT membership, and you want to collect the wallet address for distribution, then you can do that as well in checkout. And then you can do other things here. You can like upload a product image, and then you can also go, if you want it to be a recurring product, you can click that and then select whether you want it to be daily, monthly, weekly, or whatever it may be, what the runtime you want it to be, and then you can unlock the loyalty program to add to it. But I'm just going to do a one-time product for this case. So once I've created it, it says product saved successfully. Then I'm going to go to payment links. And if I search over here, there we go, Polygon demo. So that's the product that I've just created. And now it's giving me options here to copy a link or share the QR code or send it to someone's email address to pay. So I'll just go and copy the link. We'll go here, paste that in there, and we'll go through to the checkout. So this is an example for custom branding. I've used Polygon's logo as an example here. So this would be like a merchant's logo, for example. Here's the order summary. There's the product name. There's the total, subtotal. If it was shipping, it would have showed, shipping price and that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm also just going to log in with my Google account. Same thing with logging into Xion.app. You can log in with your wallet or email address or Google account or social media account. And yeah, you'll be able to log into the hosted checkout. Now, what happened now was it skipped this contact details step because I already filled it in. So we streamline that process if you're an existing customer. So because this is just a simple digital product, all we need is the email address and we want to collect their Polygon wallet address. You'll see there it says Polygon. So we'll continue to payment. And here's basically the shopping cart. It says cashback locked. It's not unlocked at the moment, but if there was cashback at the moment, it would tell you exactly how much cashback you would be getting for your purchase. And then over here is the different payment types. So pay with rewards is XGT. So XGT is Xion Finance token. That's our native token that we use throughout the ecosystem. So you can either pay with that, or at the moment, there's a few different selections here of currencies that you can pay with. Obviously, at the moment, we're in transition to Polygon, so that isn't available yet, but that will be set as primary. But for this, we're just going to pay with XGT. And what happens now is this approve function is quite crucial. It may not seem like it, but it is. If you think about it just in terms of MetaMask, when you have to go and you have to confirm transactions and sign transactions and that sort of thing, when you're using an email address or you're using a Google account, and say, for instance, you're paying from an external wallet address or whatever it may be, this approval function streamlines it. So really, this approve right now is me approving the transaction. So we've embedded it into our UI, really streamlining it. So we've kept that e-commerce focus. So we want it to be as simple as possible for users that aren't familiar with crypto. So there we go. That's the transaction already done. There's the product name, there's my order code, there's the amount of XGT I've spent, and there's the total in USD. And over this is XDAI because we are on the Gnosis chain at the moment. So there was no gas fees for that. So over here, I can go and I can click manage my orders. So that will take me right back to.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just to mention that, once the customer checks out, they immediately receive an email with, all the order summary and everything like that for their payments as well.
Yeah,
So
good
that-
one. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, so you'll receive an email for any purchase, whether it's one-time, subscription related, whatever it may be. So there we go. I just searched for my product now. So there are two ones that I've done. So over there we go. Now it's loading. So basically, this is just our backend checking what currency was used in checkout. You can see the order codes over there. If the website was entered in product details, it would show here, and any details required would also show there. But now as a merchant, what I'll do is I'll go to the customer management. And this is what I really love. And this is what Ronan also, spoke about a bit earlier. So right now we're looking at all the customer transactions over time. And you'll see this would be the name of the product. This would be the email address of the customer, the payment method used, the status of the transaction, and when it was created. You can filter one-time recurring. You can export a CSV with all your customer details like we do for our accountants on a monthly basis. You can filter your transactions, which currencies were used, a whole lot of different areas. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into one of these customer profiles. So we'll go into this one here. Now you'll see it's pending. So it's just getting the confirmation status from our backend, from the block explorers. And then the biggest thing with this customer management dashboard, it is very similar to Stripe. If you've used Stripe, you will notice this immediately. Why we use Stripe? Because they're one of the biggest in the industry when it comes to traditional payments. And it obviously works. So why recreate the wheel? Let's use what they're using, but all Web3 based. So over here, we can see this would be essentially, the customer, should I say. This would be the total amount spent over time. So this really is your customer lifetime value. How much has this customer spent at your business? So whether it's one-time subscriptions, different products, whatever it may be, this is the total amount they've spent over time. Then since that's when they basically became a customer, and an outstanding amounts. Now this is very, very, very interesting. Outstanding amounts is crucial when it comes to subscription payments. You have a lot of subscription payments that may fail, that may bounce, and you need to recollect these payments. So what we do is anytime over here, you'll see there's all my subscriptions. Any of these subscriptions that have failed, any of them have failed charges, it'll automatically add up to the outstanding amount. And then all I have to do is basically click on this email icon. It'll open up my email provider. It'll put an automated message and it will say, "Dear customer XYZ, these are the orders that are outstanding. These are the amounts. These are the order codes. And here is a link for you to go and pay your outstanding balance." As soon as they pay, this outstanding balance is put back to 0, and any failed transactions then are reflected as successful. So as a merchant, to recollect outstanding payments for subscription related crypto payments is amazing. And this is obviously a manual process for now for our first iteration, but eventually you're going to be able to just do one click and get any outstanding payments from all of your customers. So you'll get payment links or whatever sent to all of your customers or notifications, and you can settle those outstanding balances. So that is quite a feature that we focus a lot on because merchants request it quite a bit. But otherwise, yeah, customer management page, you get the details of the customer, whatever details they've provided, all of their subscriptions, where they're subscribed, whether they're paused, unsubscribed, the next billing date, number of payments, and a whole lot of different stats that you can look on your customers. Now, just before I go off this, another quite crucial thing is when it comes to subscriptions, there's a lot of sides to it. Now, there's active subscriptions, there's paused subscriptions, unsubscribed. Now, as a merchant or as a consumer, you want to have that ability to firstly either pause a subscription as a business if you need to kind of look at your inventory and kind of go back to make sure that you've got enough for the current month of subscribers, or you want to unsubscribe your customers, or as a customer, you want to pause your subscription because, say, for instance, you got a gym membership and you're going away this month. You're not going to use it, so why not pause it? So that's the thing. We've given the ability for both merchants and consumers to have that control over their subscriptions. That's a big thing. That's what we're all about. We want consumers and merchants to have control, not like a lot of businesses where a consumer has to contact multiple different parties just to get their subscription canceled. It's a nightmare. And I've had my own issues with gym memberships in the past, so I can definitely relate to that. So this is quite big when it comes to subscription management in terms of your customers. I think I won't go into too much detail, but one other thing I would like to show you is our checkout buttons, and then I'll kindly touch on what's coming in terms of global. So over here, we've got checkout buttons. So if I go here, I can go down to the Polygon, the Polygon product I created. And you'll see here, it tells me it's a single billing type, the price of it, whether it's got loyalty, whether it's got upsells or downsells, which we regard as a follow-up product. Now, here's my checkout button, my Web3 checkout button. So this can be embedded into your website. It can be embedded into your app, wherever you want to put it. So over here, we've got the subscribe button over there. You can change the title to whatever you want. You can really just customize your checkout buttons in different colors, text color, shape, size, taglines. If you want it to be responsive with your website, outlines, a whole lot of different things. So it's very customizable. And if you've used PayPal's checkout buttons, it's similar to that integration, but way more customization. we've really provided a dashboard for you to customize your checkout buttons. So this is quite a cool feature that we've also built. But now I won't take you through everything else. As you can see, there's quite a lot of different things we've got here, loyalty, wallet, my orders, product management, and all of that. One of the next big things for us, and that's in conjunction with our APIs, is multi-party payments. So we've basically already built out the multi-party payments. We just need to do the contracts for it, where essentially we're going to be able to allow merchants to be based off hierarchy. So if you think about a metaverse, for instance, now a metaverse has a lot of users coming in, right? Now nowadays you've got like Decentraland and different, metaverses. These users are selling products and services within these metaverses. But now as a metaverse, as the creator of the metaverse, you're not earning any fees off those. So what we've done is, as a metaverse, you can essentially become a master merchant, and any of your users that come in will become sub-merchants. So if they start selling products within your metaverse using, say, the Xion global payment infrastructure to accept crypto payments, or whatever services or products or NFTs or anything they're selling in the metaverse, as a metaverse owner, as a master merchant, you'll get a piece of every single transaction. So you have now got an additional revenue stream. So that's the biggest thing. We've done multi-party payments to split payments between multiple different parties, crypto payments, subscription payments, one-time payments, all of that. So that's something we're also integrating, and that's also going to be very, very cool. It's very similar to Stripe as well in terms of UI and UX. We really have gone very similar, just to really make it really easy for existing and new users. So I would say, yeah, there's a lot of things to come. At the moment, this is what we got in terms of Web3 checkout buttons and payment links. APIs on the way. And
I think, Aaron, if you maybe
yeah.
just want to go to Xion Global there, Xion Global, and you can just show everyone, obviously, if you want to sign up to Xion and start utilizing everything, obviously you just head to Xion.global, and you can see exactly what we offer, and also in terms of what's coming.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, Xion Global is our main site. So this is where you can just get like a whole lot of brief info on what we do and how to accept crypto payments. As you can see, this is like the hosted checkout I just showed you. An example of, one of the merchants using our gateway. But there's a whole lot of information you can find out here. You'll see a bit about the customer management that I showed you now, our transaction fees, the API integrations that are coming, e-commerce plugins. So like I said, we've come from e-commerce, so we will be doing plugins for Shopify, WooCommerce, WordPress, and likes. And then, yeah, really it just goes into loyalty here and what else you can do. Here's a cool video also of one of our merchants accepting in-store payments. So in this video, you'll actually see paid with crypto, for a haircut, which is quite cool. So yeah, you can get some more information here about everything at Xion Global. And if you want to get started, you can just really go and click get started, and that will take you through to our platform. But yeah, otherwise, I
Fantastic.
think that's it for now.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing product demo. It was really cool to see everything. And so this is live right now for people to go use if they want to, correct?
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Fantastic. Okay. We have a ton of questions coming in right now, so I'm wondering maybe we want to answer some of them, or we want to talk about Xion Finance first?
I think we can answer some questions here, Aaron.
Yeah, we can answer some questions. I think, finance, I'll do a brief touch on it, near the end. I think we want to make it clear that Xion Global is our core. So yeah, sure, we can jump into questions. Sounds good.
Okay. One topic that a lot of people have been asking about is kind of how you're going to drive adoption. Are there plans to market this for multiple languages? What are your plans to get people to start using this?
Yeah, so I'll take this, Aaron.
Go for
So
it.
yeah, obviously the biggest thing, with every project is adoption. We've, obviously being in the industry for so many years, we still know that we are in the infancy of the adoption of the technology, and there's obviously a lot to come, a lot of growth to come in the next few years. But in terms of our direction right now, it's focusing more on personal relationships and business relationships. Um, so in terms of that, recently, like Aaron mentioned, we just signed roughly about 3 months ago, we signed a 2-year contract um, with one of the largest casino brands in the world. Unfortunately, we can't mention any names right now, but they've got roughly over 10,000 casinos and gaming applications, online applications that we'll be integrating into, as well as looking at integrating into the actual casinos themselves. For the users to obviously, gamble with crypto, in these casinos, and also looking at the hotels, things like that. I think if you look at the largest companies right now dealing with payments infrastructure and the partnerships they have, you're looking at the likes of like Starbucks, and these obviously these companies are bringing on these big brands, and that's really, I would say, that's obviously one of the hardest things, is if you don't have those connections, it's really difficult you know to get them. And we've been obviously very fortunate. Aaron and I just returned back from the States, from a 4-month trip in the States. And, we visited a lot of different brands and retailers and had a lot of discussions, and, around, obviously doing integrations. We're also, facilitating a deal in South Africa right now, with the likes of National Treasury and things like that. Obviously, getting crypto payments done here so people can pay the utilities, taxes, and everything like that as well. We're dealing with the likes of some other big companies. Aaron, what is the name of the Bitcoin one? It just went over my head for the
Oh,
Lightning Network.
um, OpenNode.
OpenNode, yes. So OpenNode are obviously providing the infrastructure. Um, what is that country now? I don't know why it's just gone off my head now.
El
Um,
Salvador.
El Salvador. So they were the ones that obviously provided the infrastructure for Bitcoin payments to El Salvador. We're working quite close to them as well, in terms of bringing them into Xion Global, and obviously adding the Lightning Network as well. But I think in terms of the adoption side, it's very difficult. You can't just, in terms of the e-commerce side, that was obviously one of the big avenues that we want to go towards and we want to facilitate crypto payments for. But the industry is just not ready for that, and we just don't see the infrastructure available yet, and the understanding from the world in terms of that. So we do feel like it's still in its infancy, and we're focusing more on business relationships right now, direct business relationships with larger companies and brands, to bring them on. So you're not looking at just allowing, obviously, for like a Shopify or something like that immediately, but that's more of a longer term approach. Onboarding the likes of Shopify, Amazon, things like that, to obviously bring the Zion Global payments infrastructure on board. So those are things that we're specifically working on. We do have a sales team that's working on that every single day, and reaching out to clients and brands. We're working on the partnerships on that side. But in terms of our biggest, most recent success, obviously, Xion Finance as a launchpad brings us a lot of business for Xion Global as well. Since it's a launchpad, we launched quite a few projects. Obviously, in terms of where the market's been in the past few months, we haven't been launching any projects recently, but we will soon start bringing more projects on board. But last year we had roughly about 50 to 60 projects that launched on our launchpad, and these are metaverse gaming projects, and every single one of these projects are looking to onboard and obviously connect the API solution for the payments infrastructure side. So we've also been working on UI for metaverse checkouts. But at the end of the day, it's really just focusing specifically on those things, building these relationships like yourselves with Polygon. Polygon have been amazing from the start. We obviously ended up building the entire system on Gnosis chain. Unfortunately, we just didn't get the backing from them. And as soon as we came to Polygon, it was like these doors open for us, and it's been really, really great, the support from Polygon that we've received, and obviously the introductions we've received as well. So for us, it's really just a matter of time right now, getting the API solutions out, once we get these API solutions out, you're looking at really a large amount of integrations happening in a short time frame in terms of the casino sides, the gaming, the metaverse side. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming, and we see that coming once the API solution's available.
Awesome. Yeah, that's actually like one of my favorite things about working for Polygon. Like I'll be getting on calls with like several teams a week, and we'll be discussing like possible initiatives like we can undertake to like help foster like a mutually beneficial relationship. Like it's really
Yeah.
hands on with everybody. So that's something I hear from like a lot of teams is like why they like Polygon. And I think it's really phenomenal what you guys are doing. Like you got some really ambitious like plans for the future to help drive adoption. I feel like a lot of people were asking about like short term and long term goals, but I feel like we've covered that a bit. So I think
Yeah.
the next good question to ask that people have been wondering is like, how do you guys like stack up next to your competition? Like, what do you see? Like, who do you see as your competitors, and like, what are your key competitive advantages over them that'll help make all your goals achievable?
Aaron, do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure, sure. So Ronan, I mean, you can obviously jump in if you want, but I would say, at the moment, one of our biggest competitors, I would say, is Coinbase Commerce. Even if you just look at our dashboard, very, very similar. But I would say the biggest thing with, if we had to, compare ourselves with Coinbase Commerce is we're all about infrastructure. And that's what we've been, about since day one in terms of the crypto payments. So we're not just looking at users being able to accept crypto payments. We're looking at users being able to use data from crypto payments, from different block explorers, being able to reconcile transactions with their accounting firm, whoever may be, like you do in a traditional perspective. If you're talking about using Stripe, people using Stripe today, they've got a lot of infrastructure. They have a lot of APIs. They have a lot of stuff to offer, in terms of payments, not just accepting payments, but managing payments. And then you're diving into loyalty, you're diving into cashback, you're diving into all these different aspects. And that's what we're all about. We're all about infrastructure. So when I look at our competitors and what they're doing, is a lot of the competitors have should I say, a crypto payment solution that they offer, but it isn't their prime focus. And that's where they kind of lose focus on exactly what people need, what they want. With us being in the industry, being in e-commerce, being in different payment gateways, using Stripe and using different payment gateways, we know exactly what consumers need. And that's how and why we've designed Global the way we have, from a UI perspective, a UX perspective, and like I said earlier, making it as seamless as possible. We want anyone to be able to come in and use our system. When you look at competitors, there's a lot of regulation in the industry. And granted, we will have to adhere to that regulation, but the way we have gone about our system and the way we're expanding now, especially with Polygon, is very, very, very decentralized, with a lot of different security practices in place, but very decentralized, so that an average Joe can start using and accepting crypto payments and managing it and scaling it. So there's a lot of differentiators, but I think the biggest key word, and Ronan, you can add to it, but it's infrastructure, and that's really what we've been building and what we continue to build. From customer management to reconcile transactions to loyalty programs for crypto subscriptions, and then you're going to cash back and recollecting outstanding payments in a whole lot of different areas, and invoicing and everything. So we really are taking Stripe, and we are basically bringing everything of what Stripe has, but into the Web3 world, and
No,
allowing
I think for
traditional
sure.
to use it.
It's a whole, it's the whole thing of we've had multiple discussions with these gaming applications, and um, and they're obviously utilizing existing infrastructure that's around for obviously users to purchase these purchase in game in these in-game apps and things like that. And from what we've seen, it's an absolute nightmare at the moment. When a user has to click on 4 different buttons to eventually approve a transaction to pay for a feature inside a game, it's quite crazy. You look at you look at the existing stuff. I play, I play games on my iPad, and for instance, like Castle Clash, and um, I think last year their revenue just in Castle Clash was something like $850 million just for their one game. Um, and in terms of that, with the traditional side, when you click on it and you make the payment, you click on it once and you make the payments, and that's the whole the whole concept on our side as well is making it as seamless as possible, and having the ability to do a one-click checkout. So if you're going into the metaverse, if you're using a game, whatever it is, once you've accepted the terms and accepted the first transaction, um, any other transaction after that in the game or in the metaverse is really a one-click checkout process. So making it very seamless. We've seen a lot of I think recently, there was a thing that came out in terms of a company that was obviously trying to do a full metaverse UI and checkout, and they're trying to create the same experiences a person has when they go into a shopping mall. And I think that's completely wrong. I think that you've got to make it extremely seamless. And yes, we do have the whole add to cart function in our infrastructure, but having the one-click checkout, I think, is very important. I come from a background where I used to develop quite a bit with ClickFunnels, and we used to create a lot of funnels in terms of our subscription businesses we were running in the US. And one of the tactics we used, which that was when we started scaling and driving immense revenue, was once the person comes in on the first the first sale, so the first page the user lands on, they basically purchase the first product. Every product and page they go onto after that is literally a one click checkout. It's a one click and they paid. And that was when we obviously, myself and Aaron, when we were running our subscription business, that was when we had a lot of success. When we brought people in first, and every page after, or every offer afterwards was just a click of a button, and it was paid, and the merchant had the shipping details and all that kind of stuff. So it made it very seamless, and obviously our revenue just climbed drastically. It really was a completely different ball game for us, and that's how we see the whole thing when with a Visa card, and you go to a store and you tap your card and you pay, and that's how seamless it should be online as well for payments, but obviously also having the security aspect as well.
Yeah, those are some really key like competitive advantages that you highlighted. And I think yeah, it'll help to drive a lot of adoption towards people using Xion Global as a payment method. Um,
Yeah.
we got some really good questions regarding like what do you see as challenges that you'll have to overcome?
Well, I think in terms of challenges, I think the biggest challenges are regulation for us. I think that's definitely one of our main challenges right now in terms of global regulation. Every state, country has different regulation and rules, and like Aaron says, in terms of providing payments, it's a tricky situation. You have to adhere to regulation in different countries and things like that. So that's something that we've got a big legal counsel on board, and legal team that's supporting us through the regulation side. But it does make it tricky in terms of the decentralized side as well. Um, I do feel like sometimes we're going against the grain, and we're not going to be able to fight these governments and things like that. So we would rather have something that people utilize and that's available instead of getting shut down. So regulation is definitely one of the challenges. Aaron, I don't
Yeah.
know what else. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think 100%. You're on the ball right now with when it comes to regulation, there's something else that ties directly into that. And that's what we're discussing now with Polygon. That's one of our biggest barriers. And we've been getting connected to some of the biggest bridging solutions in the industry. And the biggest thing that regulation also hinders on is exit liquidity. Now, with the amount of merchants that we're going to be bringing on, that we've signed to bring on, it's quite a large amount of volume that we're going to be, processing through the gateway. And that amount of volume, you're talking about, billions of dollars worth of settlement done in stablecoins in, say, USDC or USDT, stablecoins on Polygon, there is a massive concern for rebalancing that liquidity to consistently do instantaneous merchant settlements. But that's something we're already addressing, and that's something we're working very closely with Polygon. With Polygon support, with the connections, we were able to actually finally, a few days ago, we actually had a very good discussion with some of the partners, and we finally come to a conclusion that it's not more so about the amount of liquidity, but how fast that liquidity can be rebalanced to instantaneously settle merchant payouts so that there's no delays with merchant payouts. Because there's a whole lot of things where you go into tail latency problems that, if a pool gets emptied and it needs to be rebalanced and then it's used up too fast for more liquidity to be inserted. That's one of the areas that we're looking at, but that's something that we're actively focusing on to ensure that there will be rebalancing done basically on every single transaction, so that we constantly have enough settlement liquidity for our merchants. So regulation ties into that because it's very dependent on what stablecoin you use. As everyone's familiar with what happened with Tornado Cash in USDC, that's something that we took very close. Yeah, that's something we took very, very close attention to because it really does tie into the settlement side, into the stablecoin side. And there's obviously been a lot of stablecoin drama over the past few months. So that's something that I would say definitely is a challenge, but we are addressing it, and with Polygon support, we're going to make it happen.
Fantastic. Yeah, and another thing, like Foxy had a really good question here. He's wondering, like, crypto in the e-commerce space has a sort of bad reputation. Like, an example would be Silk Road. Like, do you agree with that? Like, do you think that for a lot of people there's like a bit of a stigma surrounding crypto? Like, I feel like personally a lot of people look at crypto as simply like an investment, like a really like speculative high risk investment, even though like the Bitcoin white paper, like it was titled like a peer-to-peer payment system, right? So I don't know, like what are your thoughts around that, like how people view crypto as a payment method?
I think it's
Go for
like
it.
Aaron and I discussed prior. Even with existing payments infrastructure, you look at fiat payments. There's a lot more fraud that happens, with fiat to date, and I think um, you will always have bad actors in the space. Um, in terms of black hat stuff and things like that. It's really just trying to find a medium between the two. I think that it's that's the whole thing with decentralization. It does make things tricky. Um, and exactly what's happened with Tornado Cash now. Being so decentralized, and scammers using it to hide their funds. And we've experienced it on our side as well. Where we have we contact businesses, and we do things, and we'll send them you know a deposit or whatever it is, 20% upfront, and these guys run away and they go to Tornado Cash and they use it so you can't track them. But I agree. I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of speculation in what crypto is used for. Obviously investing in crypto is amazing, and people have made some amazing returns, like myself. Um, but at the end of the day, it's just got so much more use case, and I don't think people understand that yet. And that's why I say I still feel like we're definitely in the infancy of the technology and the adoption of the technology, because um, people just don't see it like that. To be honest, like for me, I wouldn't go spend my Bitcoin or Ethereum to pay for my shopping right now. There's no way. Um, I know for a fact in the long term that it's going to end up going up. And there will be more adoption around it. So I think that's also the other thing. For us is obviously stable coins are a big thing. I think stable coins, people are only starting to see what stable coins can essentially do now. But yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of speculation in the market. Aaron, I think everyone's
Yeah, I mean,
money.
yeah, look, I mean,
That's not
we
true.
experienced it. Yeah, we experienced it in the US. We heard a lot of different people talking about, we went to the Bitcoin Miami conference, of course, and we had a lot of people saying that, hey, well, I would rather look at my Bitcoin, acting as an investment instead of as using it as payment. But what I look at this as, if you look at the big tokens, right? You're thinking Bitcoin, you're thinking Ethereum, right? But if you're looking at DeFi side of things, if you're looking at LP tokens, and if you're looking at other highly liquid DeFi tokens that may be maybe not troublesome, but may be quite a process to withdraw LP or whatever it may be, giving access for highly liquid, say tokens with good LP or whatever it may be, and actually allowing them to pay with that LP or pay with that highly liquid DeFi token is actually revolutionary. I mean, to be honest, a lot of different DeFi tokens, people rather look and say, well, hey, I'm staking this token, I'm getting rewards. Why not use those rewards and pay for something? Like buying a shirt online, basically buying it for free, buying it with my rewards. So there's definitely a lot of stigma. There's a lot of people that would more so use and hold onto, say their Bitcoin, Ethereum as an investment. But then on the DeFi side, I think there's a lot more areas for payments. And I think that's why the metaverses have been doing very, very well, especially with all the new brands coming into these metaverses. I read an article the other day. There was quite a lot of payments processed through all the metaverses lately, and especially if you're looking at Decentraland. So a lot of stigma, a lot of pros, a lot of cons, but I would say especially in the DeFi metaverse side, definitely more pros than cons for sure.
Yeah, definitely, and I tend to agree with you that a lot of the stigma surrounding crypto just like stems from a lack of understanding about like
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that there is to offer, and how like fiat is used a lot more nefariously. And I feel like crypto is a bit of a victim of like a smear campaign that's been like an ongoing thing with the media. They're just constantly like highlighting the bad instead of focusing on the good.
They know how good it is. That's why.
Yeah.
You know.
Regulation.
We are past the like 1 hour point, but if it's all right with you guys, like we can keep going a bit longer just to like talk a bit more about Xion Finance and answer a few more questions.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
Awesome,
we can do
awesome.
that.
Yeah, because we got quite a few questions coming in regarding like the tokenomics of your token. So I'm wondering if like we could get like a breakdown of like how your token works within your ecosystem, like all the utility of it.
Okay. Yeah, Ronan, I can take this one.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, just to basically start off before I get to XGT, our token. So Xion Finance is a DEX aggregator, launchpad, and staking protocol. So at the moment, we are on BSC and Gnosis chain, and then we're also on an exchange on Allbank. But the biggest thing with XGT, if we're talking about XGT now, is XGT came from Xion Finance. That's where we raised the funding from. XGT within finance can be used. First utility is staking within finance. So that's the first utility. Second utility for XGT, this is where it really goes and taps into the global ecosystem, into the payments infrastructure, using XGT as a payments token. Third utility is using XGT as a loyalty program token. So what I mentioned earlier is we do crypto subscriptions. So merchants can create subscriptions and accept crypto for their subscriptions. But what they can do is they can activate a loyalty program where if users hold or stake a certain amount of XGT, they'll get a certain amount of discount off that merchant's product or service every single month, day, week, or year, depending on the billing schedule from that merchant subscription. So loyalty is a big aspect as well. And that's where we're also tying into other big partners to either utilize their tokens as a joint loyalty token as well, or just XGT alone. At the moment, it's only XGT. So if you hold XGT, you get more discounts off your subscriptions purchased through our ecosystem. Then if I look at the fourth utility is cashback. So one of our biggest things is you getting traditional users that would come into checkout, more so when we have the fiat, I would say. Traditional users coming in, they pay with their card, they get cash back. Now they've entered the Web3 ecosystem. Now they've got crypto. Now, what can they do with that crypto? They'll get it distributed to them over a certain amount of time, and then they can use these rewards and go back to that merchant for a repeat purchase, increasing their revenue. And now they're using their tokens to basically purchase something for free. So there's mainly it's staking, it's loyalty, it's cashback, and it's payments. Now, if I dive into the other sides of XGT, What we also have is deflationary mechanics. So we have something called a freezer contract. Every single time a payment is made with XGT, or a certain early withdrawal is made from, say, staking within Xion Finance and certain other areas of Xion Finance and the global ecosystem, a certain percentage of XGT will be sent into the freezer contract, which means it's reduced from circulating supply. So increasing the demand of XGT, reducing the supply, basic deflationary mechanics. So one of that is our freezer contract. We are expanding on XGT in terms of governance. So in our latest release, I would say the V2 release of XGT, it's got a lot of governance that's already embedded into a lot of the different smart contract functions that we're going to then use to allow people in the future to use XGT for dispute resolution. What I mean by that, I mean Xion Global, obviously it's the crypto payments ecosystem, and there will be disputes between merchants and consumers. But what we've experienced back in the day, being in e-commerce, being working with Stripe and different different payment processes, was, let me give you a clear example. A consumer purchased a subscription box, a phishing subscription box. This box was delivered to their doorstep. We had the tracking link, we had everything, we had all of the information. We gave it to Stripe or whichever the payment processor was at that time. They came back to us and said that no, consumer is right, they didn't receive the product, and now we're doing a chargeback. I mean, we were like, okay, it makes no sense. We've given you all the information. But that's the biggest thing. And that's why we're in the crypto world. That's why we want to go decentralized, because the decision shouldn't be made by one person. So if having XGT used as a governance token for disputes, it's giving more of the community and involvement based on what information is being provided, obviously leaving out sensitive information, and being able to resolve a dispute with XGT. And then obviously the merchant, whoever it is, it's actually getting a fair dispute, using a juror rather, getting a fair dispute using XGT as the governance token. And then obviously treasury and other things, and other things are added into that. But yeah, otherwise XGT is going to expand to governance side as well. But the biggest things right now, staking, payments, loyalty, cashback, those are the biggest utilities. We look at expanding on core infrastructure and where XGT can be utilized as the native token within the ecosystem. So a lot of utilities, a lot more to come, a lot more deflationary mechanics, and security is obviously always our top concern, and that's why we've been audited by CertEC as well. So yeah, a lot of utility for XGT, and at the moment XGT is on BSC, and it's on Albank, and now we're going to be moving to Polygon. So that's going to be very interesting. So that's going to be exciting once we, XGT is on Polygon, once we open up a nice staking pool there. And the biggest thing with Polygon then is using XGT and Matic for, one thing is cashback rewards. And then we're going to look at potentially tapping into the loyalty side as well if you hold Matic and XGT combined, to get discounts or subscriptions and that sort of thing. Ronan, I don't know if you want to add anything else into that, but that's
I
basically
think I see obviously a lot of questions coming through in terms of investment into XGT and stuff like that. We've never had a big focus on that. We've never had a big focus on trying to drive the value of XGT up without the utility. Our main focus is on utility. So, at the end of the day, once Xion Global starts getting the adoption coming through, that's when you'll start seeing the price of XGT obviously grow, and obviously more adoption from that side. So our main focus is really on the payments infrastructure side. It's providing the infrastructure to all these different brands, businesses, and obviously doing it on a global scale as well. And at the end of the day, XGT will be utilized to obviously incentivize users, and for users to be incentivized by merchants and things like that through the cashback rewards, through the loyalty programs and stuff like that. In terms of adoption with XGT, the more merchants that are onboarded through Xion Global, the more holders are going to be created through XGT, through the cashback rewards and the loyalty programs as well. So at the end of the day, our main focus, like I said, payments infrastructure, it's a long-term play. We've never idea of coming into the market and just leaving and stuff like that. We've never had that. This is all about long-term growth. It's a long-term commitment. Every single one of our VCs that are backing us know that, and they support us on that. So they understand that, yes, XGT might not be in the greatest position right now, but at the end of the day, what we're building is, and that's the main priority, and that will eventually come, you know.
99% product, 1% marketing. That's what we've always said. So obviously increasing on the marketing side, especially with Polygon now, but core products, that's what it's about. Like Ronan said, long-term play. This is our baby. Xion Global is our baby. Xion Finance, secondary baby. He's the one on the side, but I would say Xion Global is the core. Payments will power XGT throughout.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Like, I'm a firm believer that, if you provide value, especially for the long term, that's how you're gonna like get value for the long term, right? It makes a lot of sense to just focus on providing as much value, impact, and utility as you can, and that's how like in life you get what you give, right? So that complete
100%.
makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it's really cool how these projects like go hand in hand to help like drive a lot of value to the XGT token, and like really create a lot of utility for it, a lot of incentive to hold on to it. I do want to touch on your
Yeah,
launchpad a bit more. It
yeah,
looked
we
like
didn't even. Sorry, yeah, I was gonna say we didn't even. We ended up launching Xion Finance, and obviously did the whole launchpad side. We didn't even realize it was going to bring Xion Global business. So that was just a big bonus for us.
yeah, it looks like you guys have had a lot of success with the launchpad too. I see a lot of like notable projects being launched through your platform, which is amazing. Um,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
at the moment, we are focusing more specifically on, we obviously focusing on bringing out the V2 for Xion Finance, which is what we're working on. And we obviously want to provide a more user-friendly interface, for users obviously investing, being able to manage those investments, the claiming functions, having their own portfolios, being able to track every single investment, because we've seen it, with launchpads, and how users have to arrive at a certain time to try and get into the IDO, and it's sold out, and majority of bots came in, and things like that. That's not what we're about, and I think that's the big thing. The big differentiator with us is that we obviously offer the subscription side, um, where you can sign up to a subscription, and you get a certain amount of access into tier 1 and tier 2 projects every month, and we'll have the ability for users to select those projects, and once those projects are launched, they can come back in a couple of days, a week later, their tokens are going to be there and available to claim. There's no need to try and get into the project at a certain time and you miss it. And we've seen the frustration from users, participating in all these whitelist events and everything, and something ends up happening and they can't attend, the sale at that time or that day, and it's we just don't see it as fair. We believe that through the subscription side and the membership that we've created, it makes it a lot easier for people to get into these projects and allocate these funds to these tier 1 and tier 2 metaverse and gaming projects we bring on board.
it's so exciting. Like, you guys have a whole ecosystem rich with like so many different features and utility. Really excited for all of this to be available on Polygon, so that myself and the rest of the Polygon community can tap into it. Um, Anyways, we've gone like a bit over time, which has been great. Like, it's really good to get everybody's questions answered. Um, However, like, what would be the best places to follow up with you guys?
So yeah, so obviously, in terms of Xion Global, Xion.global, Xion.global. That's our one website, and then obviously Xion Finance, Xion.finance, and then we have Telegram, Twitter. So go give us a follow on Twitter, Xion Finance and Xion Global, and then obviously our Telegram is under Xion Global, and we are obviously we interact with everyone through Telegram. We do have a Discord channel, but we mainly focus on our Telegram side. So that's probably the best places to reach us.
Fantastic.
I
So
see you dropped all the links in there quickly. I was like about to do them quite quickly.
yeah, I'm on it. Cool. So
Love it.
now everyone knows exactly where to follow up with you guys. If you have any additional questions for them, you know where to do so. And yeah, thank you so much for coming out and giving us such like a high level overview and introduction to your platform. It's been amazing having you both.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
really appreciate it. Yeah, we look forward to obviously building on Polygon, and the support that Polygon's brought has just been, it's just, yeah, there's no words
phenomenal.
that can explain it. Yeah, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
The interactions with everyone, with the team, it's been really, really great. So
yeah.
yeah, I look
It's going to be
forward to
exciting. Getting
yeah.
literally in the process right now of migrating our payments contracts and XGT and everything. So yeah, we'll be on Polygon soon and powering the ecosystem. Really, really excited for
Just,
it.
yeah, just in terms before we leave, just checking, we obviously wanted to reward some users. I don't know, Zanzi, did you um, find a couple of users that we can reward with XGT? Otherwise, we can just, pick 3 or 4 and obviously get their wallet addresses
Yeah,
to share.
I think we can like pick out 4 of the best questions and then collect their wallet addresses. That's something we can definitely do. And we can do that afterwards, I suppose.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much,
Great.
everybody, for coming out and listening in. It's been a phenomenal session. So really appreciate all the amazing questions that were coming in.
Yeah, thanks
really
a lot.
thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, thanks again, everybody. I hope you all have a phenomenal weekend. Cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers.
bye.